just a bunch of heavy lifting. So look, it's a Wednesday running back. There's a W in the chat. The Catdets spitting facts, got the Catholic culture on the map. There ain't no PvP, preaching PvP. If you want COC, you better show you mean it. Stay in culture, let's make some more. Catdets corner, so you call her. All the baddies, he's a lady, pull up, he's a lady. Killing you, maybe also known as that. Trying to win cash on the back end, I was gonna add up the change like a cat. Gotta say I'm glad I was in the Jupiverse, like an OG status and I'm still up on the path. Cooking over gas, started the expansion. Looking like a black man, it's fun to be a cat. If you ain't one yet, you should stick around for that. When my name turned red, I felt the first passion. I had to go get it moving on, making do some music and the cats like it's a groove. Truly, cats looking like a little movie. Life getting changed, that's how he said he do it. We got wins here every week. I've been saying that it's heat. Every call I be getting geeked. I'm in thrall for every speaker. Updates making peace. Roof raise, can you see it? Luck ain't even in it. This is just a bunch of heavy lifting. So look, it's a Wednesday running back. There's a W in the chat. The Catdets spitting facts, got the Catholic culture on the map. There ain't no PvP, preaching PvP. If you want COC, wins here every week. I've been saying that it's heat. Every call I be getting geeked. I'm in thrall for every speaker. Updates making peace. Roof raise, can you see it? Luck ain't even in it. This is just a bunch of heavy lifting. So look, it's a Wednesday running back. There's a W in the chat. The Catdets spitting facts, got the Catholic culture on the map. There ain't no PvP, preaching PvP. If you want COC, you better show you mean it. Stay in culture, let's make some more. Catdets corner, so you call her. All the baddies, he's a lady, pull up, he's a lady. Killing you, maybe also known as that. Trying to win cash on the back end, I was gonna add up the change like a cat. Gotta say I'm glad I was in the Jupiverse, like an OG status and I'm still up on the path. Cooking over gas, started the expansion. Looking like a black man, it's fun to be a cat. If you ain't one yet, you should stick around for that. When my name turned red, I felt the first passion. I had to go get it moving on, making do some music and the cats like it's a groove. Truly, cats looking like a little movie. Life getting changed, that's how he said he do it. We got wins here every week. I've been saying that it's heat. Every call I be getting geeked. I'm in thrall for every speaker. Updates making peace. Roof raise, can you see it? Luck ain't even in it. This is just a bunch of heavy lifting. So look, it's a Wednesday running back. There's a W in the chat. The Catdets spitting facts, got the Catholic culture on the map. There ain't no PvP, preaching PvP. If you want COC,
you better show you mean it. Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Planetary Call. All the homies already in the chat, and we are doing the dual chat setup here and here, so you can see everything, and then we'll highlight. No, wait, you see everything here, and we'll highlight things here. What's going on, RJ, Minko? Good to see you, Will, my guy. How are people doing? BadX changed his plans for this. I've heard stories that people have canceled the delivery of their child to come to the Planetary Call. People, they said, oh, C-section is scheduled at 3:30 p.m. UTC. Can't do it. Got more important business to attend to. And that is over here. Huma Finance, thank you, buddy. Let's go. I love you too, Slick. And I love everybody that comes out to these calls on a weekly basis. Nobody, no, don't listen to Jupiter Exchange saying, please don't reschedule your C-sections. I demand you reschedule your C-sections to come to this call instead. It is going to be there's no other way to say it. It's going to be a banger call today. Not only do we have a bunch of wins for you, not only do we have an update on Jupiter Pro and a brand new feature that no other pro trading tool has outside of Jupiter Pro, we also have the big homie Erbil, co-founder of Huma Finance. And something tells me that there's a number of people in this chat who might be Huma fanatics at this point. And then following him, we're going to talk to our guy Samyak, the co-founder of Fluid, which is powering the brand new Jupiter Lend coming this July. Got a bunch of different things to talk about over on that side. I know people have questions. Me and Samyak will answer a bunch of those. Then, that's already a star-studded roster. But then the real stars come onto the stage. We have, we're supposed to have the Jupe and Juice gang coming on. They have not yet joined the stream. Makes me a little bit nervous. But they're going to talk about their upcoming proposal. Their vote will probably go live on Monday. And they're going to talk a little bit about what they have in store. And then, assuming there's time, I'm also going to be talking about a new discussion that I want to have on the representative system. Wilson is a fanatic. Frenchie, eat your dinner. But I appreciate the calorie deficit. That's what we like to see. Shout out to my guy, Duke. Ruff says, when cute Turk? I mean, every day that Erbil is on the call is a cute Turk day. That's a fact. And he's, by the way, right now, he's shirtless backstage. And if enough people ask him to remain shirtless, he might keep that shirt off when he comes on. I don't know. We'll see. Samyak definitely will be shirtless. I can promise you that in advance right now. But before we even get to any of this, there's something very important, legally mandated that I must do. And that is, of course, to play the unofficial Cadet theme song. Let's go. All right, folks, the cats, there's a rave dance going on in the chat right now, which is what we love to see, quite frankly. As mentioned, 47 Planetary calls, and Scarlett finally learned how to do a little bit of that. We have a very, very fun one for you today. Nicholas asks, Cash is Meow is with me. You want to hear him? You want him to hear anything? Did he publish? Did he finally publish the things that he was supposed to be publishing? Ask him to take a look at his essays and his Twitter backlog and then get back to me after that. All right. Well, Meow is in the audience, but he's not here. Today, you're stuck with me, Cash, Donda, the cat herder over here at Jupiter. I am, in fact, a penguin attack victim. Was anyone here for last week's call? Easily the most chaotic, ridiculous call I've ever been a part of. I got attacked by a live penguin while on stream. Iconic LFG. Yes, Alimony was there. That's good. Bad Axe missed it. That was a tough one to miss, if I'm being honest. But thankfully, I am away from the Arctic. There are no more penguins attacking me. So we're good to go. In case you're new around here, this is the 47th time we've done this. I think we've done like 15-ish Jupe rallies. So call it roughly 60 of these types of live streams in the past. And they're only getting better, folks. The goal of the Planetary Call is simple. It's to bring you up to speed on everything that's happening across the Jupiter ecosystem. We're really here to focus on the people and the products that make Jupiter so great. And today we have a heavy emphasis on the people in particular. It's not a place for token price. It is instead a place to talk about all of this. So we're going to start off with this week in the Jupiverse. As I mentioned, there's a new feature that just launched on Jupiter Pro, never before seen. You guys will be the first to see it. We'll talk about that very quickly. After that, we'll get an update from our buddy Erbil from Huma Finance, the cute Turk. Can I get a little cute Turk in the chat? 100 cute Turks, and Erbil takes his shirt off. We're going to hear about how their token launch went. It obviously was very hyped and I'm sure very stressful. Erbil is, I think, in South Korea right now, or he's somewhere crazy, traveling the world, getting people going. Then after that, we're going to hear from Samyak, who is the co-founder of Fluid and quite honestly, one of the smartest people in all of DeFi, in any ecosystem. Quite honestly, best haircut of anybody in any ecosystem. And quite honestly, just a delightful guy to work with. Really excited to have him on here. We can answer some of your questions. We announced Jupiter Lend last week. Then we have two things on the DAO to talk about. Jupe and Juice's upcoming vote, along with a discussion on the representative system, and then Catdets Corner featuring Southen. Now, if you, like me, are concerned about the length of this call, drop a little time estimate into the chat. I think we might break the hour-and-a-half barrier on this one. So this one, I would say, buckle up, because we got a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to try to go as fast as I can, but I also want to make sure that everyone, including Luciano, RJ, Katoshi, Erniak, Broski, and everybody else, can make sure to get their questions answered. Molus is under 45 minutes. Molo's always been an optimist. That's what I love about him. Slick says 137, 90 minutes and minus 250. Yeah. Modi says 2 hours. All right. We have a while to go, very clearly. The winner, whoever's closest, will get, closest without going over, will get I don't know, 10 Jupe. I'll send you 50 Jupe. Just make sure to take a screenshot and then DM it to me on Twitter afterwards if you were correct. But so put your guess into the chat right now for the specific time we'll end. With that said, shall we get into it, folks? Let's get into it. Whatever is not long enough for the best frontman in Web3. That I very much appreciate. You say, frontman hurts my feelings a little bit in the same way that KOL hurts my feelings a little bit, but we must take what the Lord gives us. Anyway, let's talk about what happened this week in the Jupiverse. And spoiler alert, it was quite a lot as always. First, we just got back from Accelerate Week equals the best week. Major shout out. Alicat, Cyan, Uplake, Catdets Wearing Group, Vibu, and many others who were just out there doing the damn thing, making sure that people knew about Jupiter over at the conference. You could see we had our own event, which was a absolute banger. There's no doubt about it. Mini golf, bar, good times, good vibes, all you could ask for. I gave a little talk, standing room only, I will say. So shout out to everybody that was at the conference and came to that. I believe it was one of the most packed talks on that stage. The gang, the homies got together. Say what you want about Jupiter community members, but you cannot say they're anything but handsome. I mean, look at these folks. May, the Empress of the Jupiverse, was there. Siong, custom wine bottles. I mean, it was wild. It was all over the place. So we're really excited. We'll see you all at Breakpoint in December, and maybe we'll see you before then. I don't know. Alicat did do an amazing job. W's in the chat for Alicat, Sian, and everybody else that helped out there. And there were many people that helped out behind the scenes. As a part of Accelerate, we announced Jupiter Lend powered by Fluid launching this July. This is what you would call a big fucking deal alert. And I'm sorry for swearing, but I have to do it. The most advanced money market on Solana coming up. If you want to know more about what that is, get your questions ready. Samyak is here. We're going to talk about it together in about 20 to 30-ish minutes, depending, well, we'll see what time we actually talk about it. But we'll talk about it soon, and we'll answer all your questions. If you're a DeFi head who has like specific questions, now is the time to ask them. You can sign up for early access, jupe.ag/lend. One programming note. We created the waitlist system on jupe.ag/lend so that we could give people, Jodo saying, nah, lend is no big deal. Don't bid, please. That's the pitch. He's taking all the liquid funds right now, too. We created a waitlist for it on purpose so that we could give early access and start to roll it out and kind of battle test the system before it went any further. Obviously, things got pretty crazy. I think there's like 2.4 million wallets that signed up for the waitlist. The truth is that some percentage of those are bots. So let me tell everybody loud and clearly right now, there is no financial incentive to joining early. There's no reason to sign up as a bot. Please call off your bot farms. We don't need them. This is really just meant to be early wallets. We'll get to use the platform. So if you use borrow lend markets in DeFi, that's why we want you to sign up. We're not trying to flex numbers or anything else like that. I don't know how credible that 2.4 million number is. My hunch is that it probably is large percentage bots, but there are still hundreds of thousands of people who are very excited, if not more than that. So hard to know. But Jupiter Lend coming in soon as well. Next, and this is a big one that I think everybody already knows. The DAO Alliance vote with Huma passed last week with 86% in favor. I think that goes up to like 91 or 92% if you take out abstain, which is, I believe it's the largest majority we've ever had. Closest thing that's ever come to a slam dunk. Clearly, the Huma community and the Jupiter community, handshake emoji. A lot of good stuff happening there. The Alliance is formed. The exclusive pre-sale for Jupe stakers has concluded. So shout out to everybody that was able to participate in that. Multiple times oversubscribed. I know, honestly, Erbil is listening backstage. The main complaint people had is that they just wanted more. They would have, if you would have given us 100% of your token supply, people would have come for it. So if you did deposit there, remember to go back to Meteora and claim back your unused USDC. Very important that you do that. You have a bit of time to do that, but just try to do that as soon as possible. And if you haven't already, go give them a follow at Huma Finance. The hits are going to continue to come in. This is just getting started. So major shout out to Richard, Erbil, and the rest of the Huma team, along with all of the voters. New gang sign. That is not true. Erbil is a great guy. Shout out to that man. Yeah, the cute Turk is real. Build like a wall, says OX Soldier. Also very true. All right. In other news, stakers are going to continue to eat well thanks to Wallet Connect. So big shout out to the Wallet Connect folks. Their token WCT is going to be coming to Solana, and Jupe stakers will be eligible for rewards. There'll be some details on this, but just stay tuned. Don't go ask in Discord. Don't go ask in the support. We're just flagging this now so that people know that this is coming. This is obviously not financial advice. We're not endorsing the token or whatever, but Wall Connect, high quality product, and they wanted to show some love to our stakers. And who are we to say no, right? So shout out to the Wall Connect team for working with the best community in all of crypto. In addition, speaking of the best community in all of crypto, the DAO Contributors Mega Guide from the CWG has now been published. So big shout out to Slorg AG and Morton for putting this together. It is a very thick boy kind of guide here, chonky, you might say, that explains all the major parts of the DAO for anyone who might be new and wants to get involved. So if that sounds like you and you've, people have DM'd me, how do I get involved with the DAO? I've had to kind of cobble together an answer. Now we have a very clear document that lay it all out. It's over at Jupe Research, so you can go check that out as well. Diego says CWG rules. Bella says W Slorg. Neither of them are wrong, quite honestly. Let's see. I love oranges, by the way. Kissing emoji from Soldier. In other news from the DAO, season 2 of Catdets W has officially kicked off. So shout out to Rolex and the Catdets working group for pushing this forward. You can join the Discord for wellness sessions every Sunday. They've done things like working out, meditations, and I think they actually do separate meditation sessions, if I'm not mistaken. But you can earn Jupe rewards for staying consistent. So this is a way to make yourself better, meet some other fun community members, and just kind of push forward and improve yourselves together, which I think is going to be great. All right, that is coming up as well. And another big news, this one was a little bit delayed. So thank you to everybody who participated for their patience. But we officially have a winner for the Jupiter Mobile Design Contest. And the winner is Seika, as you can see, with this beautiful series of backgrounds, won by popular demand. So I think we had more than 100 different submissions come through, put it up for a vote by the community on Twitter and elsewhere. Over the course of 5 days, the winner emerged. So big shout out to Seika and big shout out to all of you who will get to look at this beautiful art in your wallet very soon. Indo Pride says Janu. That's right. W's in the chat for Seika. And please, if you haven't already, go follow Seika on Drip. That's drip.house/Seika. I hope I'm saying that right, Seika, by the way. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. But big shout out to everyone who participated as well. CG Seika could send you a reward. Yes, rewards will be going out very soon. So big shout out over there. 2 more quick ones to share. First one, more protocols in Jupe Portfolio. Jupe Portfolio V2 is now live. So if you have not looked at it in the last few weeks, I highly encourage you to do so. It is stunningly beautiful and stunningly effective. The best coverage in DeFi, allows you to see everything. And now we just added, I can't even count this high, Guam. Stop adding so many integrations that I can't count. That's no good. There are probably still projects that we are missing, though. So go to feedback.jupe.ag and let us know who else you want to see included in Portfolio. So shout out to Genesis, Olivier, and the rest of the Portfolio team for putting this one together. Like I say, I use it every day, and you probably should too. Yeah, little W Guam in the chat from AG. And then finally, shout out to the homie Alley Cat, once again, bringing that founder energy, making good stuff happen. The J.U.P is truly global, and now we can see it as well. So you can go add yourself over at jupegeo.com so that one, the DAO and the team can better identify where people are all around the world. You don't have to give a specific location. You can kind of put it in the general area. And 2, other cadets will know if you're close by and they can reach out. Alley Cat and co have a bunch of great ideas here. There's things like... I don't know. Can I say this, Alley Cat? If you're in the chat. This is a beta test version, I'm being told by Alley Cat in the chat right now. So make sure to test it out. Give him any feedback. You can follow at Jupiter Geo to go give that feedback as well. There's a bunch of cool things that are going to come on the back of this, including things like, custom events, maybe some gaming leagues. Maybe we'll have some poker games and stuff like this. Like there's many fun things that can happen once we know who is where and how many people are there, and including the regional efforts and so many other things. So very good stuff happening here. All right. I think that is about it. Fire. Alley-Cat wants it to be perfect. That is true as well. Flabber apparently kind of conquered the Atlantic Ocean on Jupe Geo yesterday while testing it. So don't do that, I guess. But we have a bunch of good people on there and more to come. Okay. With that said, let's jump into the next section. That's what's happened this past week in the Jupiverse. Let me tell you about something that just happened right now, which is Jupiter Pro just got even better. I won't lie to you, Joe Doe, Aaron, and the rest of the boys and girls, They cooked on this one. If you are deep in the trenches, you know that there's a war happening currently between all these different launch pads, with different tokens being launched on different launch pads surging on a day-by-day basis. And you as a pro trader, you want to know, hey, which are the best launch pads that I should go look at? Right now, there's no real place to find this out until now. Now you can go to jup.ag/pro and check out, well, actually, rather than tell you about it, let me just show it to you. You can actually go and check out all launch pads in our new Launchpad screener feature. So if you go over to Pro, you can then come over here to Launchpads, and what you will see are all the launch pads ranked by whatever metrics you want to rank them by. This is a very cool little feature, not only because you can see who's doing well on what time frame. So let's just see who's doing the best on the 1 hour time frame. Looks like Pump, followed by Believe, then Let's Bonk. This allowed, and the Meteor DBC as a whole. This is not perfectly accurate because other products sometimes use the Meteor DBC, but it's a good first start, if nothing else. And it allows you to see, hey, where are the traders? Where is the volume? Where is the liquidity? Where are the successful tokens coming out of as well? This by itself, I think, is pretty cool. This is nice. Pro plus Alpha Scan is so good, it's unreal, says Van. And Van never lies, famously. This is pretty cool itself to get a high-level view of what's going on across the Launchpad space. But Joe and Aaron and the rest of the gang, they don't stop cooking there. We have a feature that no one else has. No other pro trading tool has it, and it is an important one for the pro traders, which is each of these overall Launchpads also now have their own screener built in as well. If you click in, you could see all the tokens that have been launched by those Launchpads, sort by any metric that you want to sort by over here on any different time frame, and instantly quick buy them as well. So you're in the DGen, you only want to buy pump tokens. You might see, okay, well, what is right now, we'll see, like, what is the 5-minute volume looking like? Okay, these are the big boys. Who are some of the big risers? Let me go up like this. Oh boy, Burger having a tough time, down 98%. All of this is here. Oh, amazing. Please zoom in. Oh, I'm so sorry, folks. My bad. Let me come in here and zoom in a little bit better. Hopefully this helps. So what you can see is the Pump screener right now. You can see all the different tokens that have been launched on Pump in one place. And let me tell you, this is something that no one else has. Most other most other pro trading tools might include a feature like this only for the last 24 hours. This is lifetime data in here, folks. So you can actually see the big runners and what's been successful on whatever metric you want across different time frames and across all of the history, along with top line metrics over here. This is, wow, that's got to be a first of its kind feature, says Maddo, and Maddo is right. Be like Maddo, be right. So you can go through, you want to see what's happening over on Believe? Boom. You can see it right here. This is one of those features that just feels like a clear example of where the Jupiter team does not stop shipping. The goal here is just to give you the best pro trading experience possible. And this is an easy way to start to stay up to speed on what's happening on a launchpad by launchpad basis. Let's say that you're really bullish on time.fun. Boom. You can just go and check out what are the different people. These are metrics that I don't even think you can see on time.fun in terms of like volatility and net transactions and all this kind of stuff all over here, which is looking pretty great. No data wasted. That's right. This is so innovative, says Al Money, and Al Money is also correct. Soju is on time.fun. Me and Soju have a little wager right now going on between me and him. I don't know. I'm end of Tokelist, so maybe there'll be some more things happening here. This is brand new. This just came out but a few minutes ago. So if you have any feedback, go to feedback.jup.ag to let us know. But pretty great stuff. Super cool tech, says Bella. Katoshi says aggregate everything. That is it. That's all you need to know. We've aggregated all Launchpads into one place for the pro traders to be able to trade more effectively. Just casually improving UX. That's what we do over here, folks. All right, let me go back to drop a little W in the chat if you're a pro trader and excited about using the new Launchpad screener tool that we just launched. Why is this not going back to my deck? He asked very confusedly. All right, Lorenzo digs it. Katoshi digs it. Hunagal is on board. Golden Eggs, Small Cat. All right, all the homies are excited about it, and I am as well. I feel like a pro when using it. Does that count, Scarlett? That's right. It does count. That absolutely does count. Speaking of pros, let's bring up our next guest here. He is himself a storied professional, the godfather of startups in Turkey. I don't think he'd ever say that, but I will say it for him. And of course, the co-founder of Huma Finance, here with an update on the DAO Alliance. Please drop a little HM, a little Huma morning for Erbil, the co-founder of Huma Finance. Erbil, how's it going, buddy?
What's up? What's up?
Oh my God, you
Dude,
tell me. This is the first time
I
we've
don't
actually
know.
talked since I think the token launch, and we're just doing it casually in front of 4,500 of our closest friends.
I
So tell
know.
me, man,
I
how do you
know.
feel now that the Huma token has launched?
To be honest, I feel exhausted. It's been sleepless few weeks, and I'm in South Korea still on the road. But at the same time, a bit relieved, to be honest, because up until the launch, there's always this question of, okay, like we're doing something very long term. But at the same time, your launch moment and like how people feel about it is important. We want to make sure that our community, Jupiter community, and all of our partner communities, anybody who supports us, feel really good about everything, and that has been the case, to be honest. So far, obviously, like every launch, there are glitches and there are so many adversary players that you get to discover both on chain and off chain. Let's just say that. And how to deal with that is something really new to us, to be honest. Because we this is the first project that we have been really putting our life into, and it's the first time we're doing a token launch. But what I've been hearing from at least a lot of the people in the Meteor community, Jupiter community, that this is one of the most successful launches of the year, and hopefully in the long run, as we focus on the fundamentals, as we focus on creating the most value for the stakers, that will continue to be the case. But yeah, I mean, exhausted, but at the same time relieved, man. Like right now, at least I can take some sleep. Like until the launch, even if I tried, I just wouldn't be able to. Right? It's just like a million things coming to your mind. You want to make sure that you're defending against every single possible scenario to make sure it all goes well. But yeah, right now at least I can sleep a bit.
You say that it's like 1 a.m. right now in South Korea, so I don't know how much you're actually.
That's for you guys. That's for you guys. You told me you're gonna do a Planetary call. Yeah,
these folks watching, I was delighted to see how much overlap there was generated by this kind of DAO Alliance and the good work we were doing. I looked at the Kaido leaderboard that you had for Yappers, which, by the way, I found out I was on. I didn't even know that was a thing, so that was cool. But there were a bunch of Jupiter community members who were on there. Can you say anything about the community members from Jupiter who came out and supported you?
Oh man, like when I look at the list, because we don't build the list. Kaito has a platform, they have a leaderboard, they have their algorithm, and they determine who is talking about Huma and PayFi. And when the list came to us, we were so freaking happy because Fabiano is on top of the list. Juicy is top of the list. There are like so many people from the Jupiter community that's on top of the list, right? And we were so happy because what we see from our side, this is the most aligned, community, and them actually getting a relatively large drop from Kaito. To be honest, even more so than the general community buckets. Like Kaito was the biggest bucket. We were just so extremely happy to see that, and what I believe was a response to the Alliance DAO vote. Not just that it passed by massive majority. It also, I think, made people more aware of what we do, and people started putting really meaningful content, informing people, analyzing certain things, and delivering those analysis to people as well. And those content resonated with others. And yeah, I mean, the top 500 Huma content creators on Kaito, I would say probably a good 25-30% overlap with top Jupiter content creators, which is amazing.
Love to hear. People got really into it, man. I gotta say thank you on behalf of the DAO, because I think this is a great alliance, and I gotta say thank you as well as me, Kash Donda, because that vote passed by a super majority, and it just feels great to have a fully non-futtable kind of DAO vote. People just gonna, I think, recognize the kind of value. Obviously, that is just the first step. And the reason we did this DAO Alliance with this kind of long-term partnership is not because we thought that, hey, the token will pump on day one and it'll be a great valuation, whatever. Instead, it was because we are bullish on the future of what Huma can build along with Jupiter together. So for folks here who are excited about the token excellent. It's great to have you. But I encourage you to also go check out the project and be excited over there. What is coming up next? Now that the token is live, you mentioned the DAO, you mentioned staking. What else can you share with the Jupiter community who might want to get involved over there as well?
Awesome. So a couple of things. One, I think just, Kaito is still going on, and people who want to create content still has a lot of room, because if you look at the bottom portion of the Kaito rewards, it's still very big. And that's because, we, us Kaito guys, let's not do a head heavy, because, if it's head heavy, then people who are good at creating content with just a few tweets, they will be able to get, a good drop. Let's make it as tail as possible, right? Anybody who has the intention to create good content and, working hard, maybe they don't have a lot of followers, but working hard to do so, should be able to get a decent, drop. And that made a lot of people very happy. And season 1 is going on right now, which is going to hopefully make an even larger, group of people happy. So that's the Kaito side, content creation side. And some of the Jupiter community members, content creators, we're planning to do a content academy together. You guys are masters of content, and I asked some of the Juicy, Fabiano, Ashen, like those guys, and they're all in to start a content academy. I think we're going to start doing that, and hopefully that's going to not only help people understand more about what's going on with Huma, but also help us explain ourselves to the whole world. So that's I think amazing that we continue to do that. And then staking side, if you think about the Huma token, I know Meow likes to say every token is a meme coin, which to a certain extent true, right? But that might be the overall perspective of the market. We believe in the fundamentals, right? Because we're building something that is a bedrock of the financial and payments ecosystem. And for that reason, economically, it should work regardless of the token's speculative value, right? Economically, it should work. And we're trying to put as much utility as possible into it, because we're trying to incentivize very different types of players in the ecosystem. We have institutions, we have LPs, and we have to rebalance, right, how the institutions and LPs work together. What is the cost of capital that LPs provide? Can we actually help them to push more capital in, make the capital more, afloat when the institutions need it? Can we make sure that the institutions are also incentivized to lower their costs and grow further? And if the institution that we're serving are able to grow further, serve more people, then we're also growing the network with them. So there's so many incentives and economics alignment that needs to happen. We're spending a lot of our time modeling that and creating as much utility as possible for the token holders and the stakers. And you're gonna see more and more value accruing, behind the stakers themselves. That's going to be probably a few months of effort, and we're going to release the first set of research that we have done and what we want to do with that in the next 2 weeks. So that's going to come out. And right after that, what we're focused on is we have a few very, very big pilots going on with large card networks and some of the large payments giants. And we want to make sure that they
come. Or is it still private?
There might be some rumors already out there, but I'm not allowed to talk about them until the pilots end. And my team's going to kill me if I do that. So
we outnumber them here in the Jupiter community. We will defend you, Erbil, if need be.
And this is the thing, right? If you guys told me as a partner, right, please don't talk about this thing, and don't run our news, I would say, I respect it. And our partners the same way. Please don't talk about it and don't front run our news. Let's make sure we announce this together. So I should be, I just
understand.
So, anyway,
Erbil is a cute Turk, very respectful Turk as well. Let's just be clear on that. He's a man of his word at all times.
Yes, I have to be. Otherwise, you don't survive long term. But that's basically another thing we're focused on, and I think those will scale the network at least 10x in the next 2-3 years. So that's why I'm so excited about those use cases, because those use cases were something we would dream of. Now we're like at the early pilot stage, and if we can really prove them, the growth that will come with that is quite massive. And to be honest, that's pretty much all we can focus on. Like there's only so much time and space and human energy involved. But The other, I think, aspect is I saw the Jupiter lending market coming very soon. I'm so excited. I was one of the first people to go and sign up on the wait list, and I was a bit surprised how quickly it grew as well. So no comment on that. But we were building for the past 2 months a lending market with Camino that utilizes this native yield we have on the PayFi network, because the PayFi network generates a lot of revenue, right? We generate minimum 10% revenue on the network, and that goes into this LP token. And LP token, if you have a sustainable, relatively low risk yield, can generate a more efficient lending market instead of utilizing just the regular stable coin, because your collateral value is actually growing as well. So we're building this kind of like new lending market, PayFi lending market with Camino, and we're like quite ready to test it all out and launch it together. And when I saw the Jupiter lending launching, I was so excited because obviously with our relationship with our alliance, I think there's even more that we can bring into this lending market. I know from the Jupiter, especially the leveraged lending pools that you guys have, the utilization rate of stable coins were quite low, right, for a long time. And PayFi network has so much demand for the stable coin and can utilize it very, very well. So there's some very interesting dynamics to increase the utilization of certain things, increase the yield of J.L.P, but also help grow the lending market, because lending market requires demand for certain collateral and supply for certain collateral as well, and then you need to create this flywheel, right? And hopefully we'll be part of that.
Pretty amazing. And yes, I can confirm. Well, I mean, we'll have Samyak on in a second and we can talk about the details over there. But yes, I would very much expect continued product synergies between Jupiter and Huma. Listen, folks, if you're watching at home, it can sometimes feel like you launch a token and the job is done, you get to celebrate. But as you can tell from Erbil right now, that is not the case. Work is just beginning. The game
just started.
Just started. So the goal is to 10x the business from here. He's doing a roadshow, getting more institutions on board, getting more LPs on board. Please do follow Erbil over on Twitter to stay up to date on everything that he's doing and Huma Finance is doing. It is great stuff. And Erbil, I guess we'll have to save the questions about this particular dinner you went to until next time. But you look good in a black tie, my boy.
Thank you. There's a fun story about how I managed to get a tuxedo last minute, but next time.
next time. All right, folks. Drop a little W in the chat for Huma Finance. Great partners. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk to you very soon.
See you guys. Thank you.
Oh, I cut him off before he said thank you. But he said thank you. You know what he was going to say. He doesn't need to come back on and say it again. Shout out to Erbil. He actually got these tokens while we were sitting together in Istanbul. And I, like a fool, did not join him. I should have listened to my smarter friends. But that's the way it goes. Speaking of smarter friends here, now the next stage of this call, we want to talk about Jupiter Lend. It's got all of Solana DeFi talking. It's got all of Solana, and it's got some people outside of Solana talking as well. People are very excited to see the DeFi super app strategy play out. We already have the best spot trading experience, largest perps, best portfolio, what, in my opinion, the best mobile wallet. And now we'll be adding lending powered by the homies, the Chads, the legends over at Fluid. So please drop a warm jam. It's his first time seeing one of these calls, and I want him to know what the Jupiter community is like. Please drop a little jam in the chat for my guy, Samyak. Samyak, how you doing, my boy?
Hey, hi. Great to be here. I mean, the mimic start of the call is just crazy.
You ever seen anything like this before, buddy?
No, I mean, just so super energetic community. I don't know.
I mean, can you
so
see
funny.
I don't actually know from the participant view. Can you see?
I can see it. Yeah.
Look at this. Just like
JM, everyone.
Drop it in. Fluid guys are legend. JM to some again his hair, best hair in crypto. I've said it before. I'll say it again. So I think at this point, some people probably have some sense of Fluid, but perhaps not everybody does appreciate fully what Fluid has been able to accomplish. To start, you mind giving just like a 60-second download on Fluid and what you guys have built?
Yeah. So Fluid is, I mean, before Fluid, we were the co-founder of InstantApp. I was the co-founder of InstantApp. And at InstaDapp, we were building, it was an aggregator which was aggregating all protocols on Ethereum, all the biggest protocols and also the DEXs. We got a lot of understanding, and then we implemented all of those things baked it into a single protocol. So Fluid is this big flexible protocol. On the base of it is liquidity layer, and on top of that liquidity layer, you can build infinite protocols. So Jupiter Land is just one of those protocols, and then it can venture into a lot more things in future. So it's the framework, which it's the final framework for the best DeFi protocol. Yeah, I mean, and everything on the protocol side, the Jupiter Land and new things that will probably come in future. Everything is just every protocol just optimizes each other protocol because of the shared liquidity. So doing a protocol upgrades, launching anything new, anything you can imagine in finance can basically be built on top of this framework. So yeah, I mean, excited for Jupiter Land, excited for anything that comes on top of it, and many different tranches of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
and about on a very high level, Fluid is in just 3 months of launch, Fluid became the second biggest DEX on Ethereum. It's now the fourth biggest money market on Ethereum. It's just been 15 months old, and yeah, and there are a lot more things to unlock here as we go.
And this, I mean, just flex on them a little bit. 2 billion. Pretty nice casual number to have in just one of the protocols over here. So obviously it's seen, widespread adoption. I think particularly for stablecoins, I know that it's seen tons and tons of volume and adoption. I don't know if I can connect my wallet without doxing myself, so I'm not going to do that right now. But these numbers are not normally zero. These will come through. Let's start by talking a little bit more about like the innovations that are happening at Fluid. As I talked about on stage, and by the way, when I was talking on stage, I was just like directly quoting Samyak. He's the master of this kind of stuff. There's two levels to the way the Fluid and Jupiter Land will work, right? There's the liquidity layer on the one hand, there's the protocol layer on the other hand. As you say, any protocols can be built on top of the liquidity layer. But why even do this kind of two-tier design? Like, why doesn't everybody do that two-tier design? Like, what is the alternative that normally is used?
So it unlocks a lot of things. So on a very high level, I mean, as you were discussing before with Huma, there is a lot of unlocked capital in the Jupiter's land market with a very low utilization. What if you can earn, or all the LPs and everyone can earn lending APR on top of it? There are some concepts that gets unlocked with this infra, which is like smart debt, smart collateral. And one of the biggest use cases, each protocol that launches, they launch multiple versions as they go through in their lifetime. For example, on Ethereum, there was MakerDAO's SCD, MCD, Aave V1, V2, V3, V4. Even on Solana, there's Camino V1, V2, and so on. So every time you launch a new protocol, you kickstart the liquidity from the base, and the protocol takes a lot of time to grow. But in Fluid, it can instantly start tapping into the liquidity layer according to the limits as set by the governance. So, I mean, new protocol has an instant opportunity to grow. For example, sometimes it takes a newer version more than a year to get bigger than the old version, just because the new version does not have capital. You want lenders to move, you want borrowers to move. But on Fluid, you can just customize everything. If you want to make a better borrowing experience with a new protocol, you can just support that. If you want to make a better DEX, you can just support that. If you want to combine, for example, Fluid DEX that we have, it was able to become the second biggest DEX on Ethereum in just 3 months of launch because of the money market. So our DEX got 10x more capital efficient, 10x more better, just because the money market liquidity was already there, which we collected over like 8 months since the launch. And the money market gets a lot better with the DEX as well. So it's just synergies and extremely high capital efficiency that just all gets combined from multiple protocols on top of it. So yeah, I mean, Jupiter Land is something we are going with, but excited to explore many different things as we go through.
And Samyak might have just dropped a little bit of alpha, folks, for those paying close attention. But just to kind of summarize it there, right? The liquidity, you don't need to restart every time you improve the protocol, right? Elsewhere, you go from V1 to V2, liquidity is left in V1, kind of hard to get it over to V2. People have to manually come in. It's a pain. Jupiter's focus on UX is why we love the fluid design. It's just better both from a development standpoint, because you can iterate without having to restart every time. And for users, it's way easier. You just deposit and you know you're always going to be taken care of. And then you have this protocol layer on top, which indeed can have vaults and all sorts of other things. Fluid on Solana, or sorry, Fluid on Ethereum does have, as Samyak was saying, the second biggest DEX as well. So, you can imagine where things might go over on the Jupiter side with time. Smart lending, I think, is also super cool. Do you mind actually explaining the concept of smart lending real fast?
Smart collateral? Smart lending is, so smart collateral is you deposit your asset as collateral. It earns lending APR as it can be borrowed out from the liquidity layer, and it also earns trading APR, and then you can also borrow against it. So basically, let's say you can have a smart collateral of Sol and Jup Sol. So this Sol will earn lending APR, Sol Jup Sol will earn trading APR, and then you can borrow USDC behalf of it. So basically, your collateral is like Sol based, which is like stable collateral, and on top of that, you can borrow, let's say, USDC, USDT as a smart debt and earn on top of that. So you can basically earn 4 or 5% on your collateral, or maybe I don't know what the APRs on Solana are right now, but maybe 10% or higher. And you can, with the smart debt, you can even, if the trading APR is high enough, you can even get paid to borrow, which happened on Arbitrum for some time. But in general, you always get a discount on the debt. So yeah, these are like external features and new things that gets unlocked with the DEX on top of it, which we call a smart collateral smart debt. But yeah, and in general, also on the lending and borrowing protocol, we designed a liquidation algorithm which is 100x better than anything out there.
And that's just marketing speak, right? That's not real. That's not a real number. 100x better.
There are many things I can mention, many points which just justifies that why is it better, from integration standpoint of view, from liquidation penalty, from how you can liquidate 1 million users with a single transaction. You don't have to liquidate each user separately. So yeah, I mean, it's just like the liquidation on Fluid is like a swap. You're just swapping, and you're paying back USDC debt. You're withdrawing Sol. So you just it's like a swap. And so basically, if a user is swapping on Jupiter aggregator, the user might as well liquidate on Jupiter land and get a better price from the liquidation penalty. So there's the whole algorithm which we designed, which allows for this sophisticated liquidation. And if the liquidation is super optimized, then it directly impacts the LTV, because we can be sure that the liquidation can happen on time and in optimized way. So that means we can allow users to borrow higher. So Fluid currently in entire Ethereum ecosystem provides the highest LTV and LT liquidation threshold, and yeah, just allows you the best use of your asset at the highest capital efficiency.
It's it's truly like, I hate using this word, but it is exceptionally innovative. Honestly, this kind of design. For folks who are new to borrow lend markets, LTV is your loan to value ratio. So you put in $100 of USDC, and the question is, how much can you borrow against it? Obviously, the more that you can borrow against it, typically the better. And because of the liquidation engine that Samyak is describing, you can actually borrow much more against it in ways that are not possible with other architectures. So this is like a fundamental technical innovation that leads directly to a better end user experience, and ultimately should lend to Jupiter Lend growing quite fast as well, I would say. Maybe we can take a few questions from the chat, because I know that I saw a few already come through. This idea has come up a lot on Twitter, actually. Will we be able to use our staked Jup as collateral to borrow? What do you think? I know we haven't talked about this before, so I'm putting you on the spot here. This won't be built in on day one, that's for sure. So people don't get excited about that. But like in theory, is that possible?
I mean, in theory, we can support any kinds of token. It's more about the risk analysis. So we can dive into the stake Jup risk analysis, the liquidity, and the withdrawal period. So it's technically possible. And Fluid also allows to set caps for everything. So we can also list any other token with a lower caps and grow as we go on the cap side. So yeah, technically it's yes, but I would like the 100% surety will be after the risk analysis of the asset.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, folks, stop asking in my DMs and on Twitter. It is possible. We have to do a thorough risk analysis. The main thing with borrow lend protocols that's important to understand is that the risk engine and the way that you think about risk is really where a large part of the value comes from. I can say like, hey, I'll give you 99% LTV. You give me $100, I'll give you $99 worth of Jupe or whatever. Or you give me $100 of Jupe, I'll give you $99 back. But that creates risk, right? That the position, if the price moves very quickly down, then all of a sudden my loan will default. And if the protocol is not able to liquidate that collateral fast enough, then the protocol can take on bad debt, have to go into the insurance fund. There's a bunch of bad things that can happen. So risk analysis is really the essential thing here. And everything that we do with Jupiter Lend, I mean, Fluid has a long history of being incredibly smart on risk, and we're planning to use that expertise very clearly over here. Let's see. Whitelisted assets for borrowing, or can you self-fund pools? Asks Van. I believe it would be whitelisted.
Yeah, so the initial version will have whitelisted, but as I said, the Fluid framework, we can sort of build any kinds of protocol. So we can also support a permissionless Jupiter Lend market where anyone can create their own market and factor in the risks. Where protocol won't have the risk, the risk will be on the risk curator, whoever designed it. So this can be built on top of Fluid, and something we're exploring, but there is no certain timelines as of now.
Talk a little bit about the builder experience on top of the liquidity layer. Like, is it truly the case that like anybody, like any third-party permissionless developer, can build on top of the liquidity layer?
No, like it's the team, or if anyone else builds, it's the team who has the responsibility to audit and make sure, because it gets access to the liquidity layer. Although the access is like with caps, so liquidity layer can also give a cap of 5 million, 10 million, and just experiment with a new protocol rather than giving a higher cap of 100 million. So yeah, I mean, it still depends on the team and the governance on which protocol to support. But the protocols that are supported on top, those can have some permissionless functionality. For example, as the question was there, like, can we support any kind of collateral? So this can come on the protocol level where, yeah, we can support this functionality where protocol Fluid as a protocol or Jupiter Lend as a protocol does not have any risk. The risk goes to the risk curators, whoever is supporting the asset and the lending liquidity that they attracts. So yeah, I mean, it's like super customizable. Everything can be factored and curated in the way we want to make sure like we provide maximum flexibility plus maximum capital efficiency.
The way I think about it is that we are entering kind of like a greenfield area. Like, what would you do? Like, let's assume that Jupiter Lend, powered by Fluid, is able to get a few $100 million in deposits. Let's just use that as an assumption. I think it's a safe assumption, but that's not financial advice. That's just my own opinion. What you have then is like this playground where you can build all sorts of different protocols on top that do all sorts of different functions, all utilizing the same liquidity underneath. So everyone watching this call knows that we like to do some experimentation over at Jupiter. And I think that this is why we're so excited about the architecture, is that it enables us to do this kind of DeFi innovation and experimentation along with the Fluid team and kind of identify what kind of products are uniquely possible on Solana and what kind of products uniquely add value that you can't really get anywhere else. Which I think is pretty incredible. Van says permissionless pools could be a wild advancement for the trenches. Not gonna lie. Give us some time. This is not going to launch on day one. Let's be very clear. On day one, all that is launching is the borrow lend market, where you can deposit collateral, take out loans against that collateral. And then over time, we'll have more things start to come out. Is there anything that you're particularly excited about doing on the protocol layer?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, we have the Jupiter Lend that's going, which will allow lending and borrowing. Then the smart debt, smart collateral, which is also a part of DEX. The DEX V2, which we haven't launched, will be launching on Ethereum in July. Will also plan to build on top of this, which I think can be a big alpha, as you can say. So yeah, that will have anyone can come and create their own DEX pools or do many different kinds of things. There are many mini protocols that can be built, which we also have on Ethereum side and can also be done on Sol. For example, if I were to give a quick example, So just to show, like, it's just it depends on your imagination. You can create anything. So we have one protocol. I'll just give an example on the Solana side. Let's say you have Jupe Sol and Sol as a leverage position. So you have Jupe Sol as collateral and you have Sol as debt. And you have leverage, like this is a pretty regular leverage strategy where you leverage, you borrow Jupe and you convert it into Jupe Sol and then you deposit Jupe Sol. So you have this leverage position, but if you want to close this position, you cannot, you'll have to market sell all the Jupe Sol and pay back the debt and so on. You cannot withdraw these Jupe Sol, but we can create a mini protocol where you can just move this position into a mini protocol which sort of sends the Jupe Sol for redemption, and you can directly redeem from the Solana as a staking
Originated
mechanism
program.
rather than market selling it, and save a lot of cost on deleveraging. So this is like mini protocols. I mean, I expect on Fluid there will be 10 plus major protocols and maybe tens or even hundreds of mini protocols in next 5 to 10 years. So yeah, I mean, we're here for long term and excited to see what all the things can it power.
Love to hear that. Folks, again, I cannot stress this enough. We are talking speculatively about things that could be built in the future. Right now, Jupiter Lend will launch with borrow lend markets. So don't get too excited about all the other stuff until that's live. Those are, weeks to months away. So don't, I don't want people to go crazy right now. Me and Samyak did not prepare before this conversation. And so we did not talk exactly about which alpha to share or not. But, we're here live in front of, 6,043 of our closest friends. Might as well dream a little bit. One more question I have. I love the refinance feature over on Fluid. Is that coming to Jupiter Lend as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's a feature that's built on top as a periphery contract. So yeah, I mean, maybe not on launch, but probably a month or two after the launch.
Can you
If we
describe
get
what
enough time,
refinance
then.
does for anyone who doesn't know, actually?
So it just allows you to one-click refinance from any of the other protocols. So if you want to shift from any other lending protocol to, let's say, Jupiland, you can just shift your entire borrow and lending position with a single click from the refinance UI. So yeah, again, I mean, we'll try to bring it on launch if we get enough time, but shortly after. Yeah.
Pretty sick. So
So
one click, you could, if you're getting worse rates elsewhere, with one click, you could bring them over to Jupiter Lend. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow, says Gadochi. AEO, says Yurkovich. Damn, this is crazy, says Sufius. That's right. Fairy Cat asking, are you guys using Neon at all for bringing the ETH contracts over to Solana? I believe the answer is no, that these are kind of native built in Solana, right?
We build it natively. We factored in the optimization that works for Solana and remove the optimization which worked for Solidity. So we did factor in, like, large part of the code and the logics are same, but we did factored in the particular chain to make sure that we build the best, we follow the best things and bring the best optimization on the code level.
Yeah.
And Jupiter team was there to help all the time. So yeah, it wasn't that complex.
Shout out to the gang. Folks, if there's one takeaway that you should have from this, is that Jupiter Lend and this kind of borrow lend protocol, it's going to be killer. It's technically superior, better LTVs, better liquidation engine, eventually, hopefully, better rates as well as a consequence of those factors. But it is just the beginning. There's a lot of growth potential here with many other protocols that can be built on top, whether that's refinance, multiply vaults, some of the other things that Samyak said that I'm not going to say again because I don't want them to get clipped. But there's a bunch of things that could come in the future. So when you think about growth, you got to think about Jupiter. You got to think about Fluid. This is where DeFi innovation is going to happen. If that doesn't make you bullish, I don't know what to do for you. Honestly, go drink a Red Bull or something because you clearly need a little bit more energy. Please drop a little W in the chat for Samyak coming on a short notice, sharing some alpha, describing how Jupiter Lend is going to work. All thanks to the boys over at Fluid for coming through. Samyak, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. All righty then. Let me go back to my slides if I can find them. Where are my slides? Pretty sick, huh? Jupiterland, people excited about that? Yeah, I see that the crowd is feeling pretty good. There's too many W's for us to even show all on screen. Pretty amazing stuff. Jupiterland, powered by Fluid, going to absolutely crush. So yeah, you should feel excited. If I was you, I would feel excited. That's just me though. Other things to be excited about, though, the excitement does not stop there. We're just crossing the hour mark. We still got a little bit more to go. We have 2 DAO-related topics to talk about, and then Catdets Corner with Southen. But before we get to Southen, let's talk a little bit about the DAO. Up next, you know them, you love them. Please drop a little jam in the chat for the homies from J.U.P and Juice. Let me bring them all up on stage. Hey, yo.
No.
Hey, yo.
We've
We've never had this many people on, so it kind of breaks our visual. There we go.
Yep.
Monique, a little bit out of sorts without the
I
color background.
didn't get the memo. Sorry.
Off-brand, Monique, off-brand. But I'm glad you made it back after the last Catdets Corner, where you swore never to get, never to come back on. So it's good to have you here. Folks, J.U.P Juice, I don't think they need much introduction, but for anyone who does not know, Wake, Sax, Satchel, and Monique, part of this trial working group up until now. And soon we'll be going to a full DAO vote to discuss their coming proposal. And so to kind of give a sense of what they've been working on, I think they prepared some materials as well. Is that right, boys and girls?
That is correct.
We
got
have
some
indeed.
slides.
So bullish. By the way, Fluid, Huma, bullish. Let's go.
Let's go, buddy. Let's
go.
go.
On.
The hits don't stop over here at Jupiter, baby. That is a fact. All right, let me add in the slides. There we go. Wow, damn, production value putting me to shame here. Producers are watching this call of the Planetary call. Look at how the other folks are doing it. Anyway, please take it away, boys and girls.
Yeah. Okay. So excited. The day is finally here in classic Jupiter fashion. It's been, you're doing it right now. Cook. So we cook for the Jupiter DAO. So we love you guys. We know you guys. And it's so nice seeing so many friends in chat, yapping live. We love you all. And many of you have obviously seen J.U.P Juice, or you've been on J.U.P Juice, or you've yapped to us in the Discord chat every day, because we have no lives. We're there every day. But anyway, what is J.U.P Juice? So we started as a trial, September 2024, and our trial was extended, but it all started from an experiment. And I'm super happy to say that it's organically grown into a vital grassroots media studio for Jupiter DAO. And we do some amazing work for amazing people. We amplify and unify the Jupiverse alongside some of the biggest giants in crypto, Catdets, J.U.P, Huma. All the big guns have sat on the same stage as J.U.P Juice guests. And that's an honor. And that's something we're going to be pushing up to the next level. We bring the best of Jupiter to the best of crypto. And that's bullish, right?
Bullish. You did forget one guest that had been on there, but it's not
Kash
important. We can move on for now. There you go, buddy. There you go.
Big Cash.
And your viewership was actually 3x meows. So I don't.
Yeah, and also
still watching. Let him know. Let him know.
And also his short is one of the best performing shorts. I remember.
Oh, nice. Which one?
It's the one we were talking about when you traveled, when you met someone and you had to leave her for work. And
the one about my wife?
It's
the
the heartfelt story about you and your missus when you had to make that tough decision because you was traveling to Oxford to do your uni degree.
Yeah. Oh, wow. My wife will be thrilled to hear that. That's great news. Meow will not be thrilled. That's fine.
Yeah, so I mean, Wake touched on a lot there, but just to give you a quick overview of how we see things. Obviously, a lot of you know us about, from the podcast itself, but the fact is there's a lot more to J.U.P Juice and what we do than the podcast alone. So just to give you a quick overview of how we see it, we see ourselves as a community unifier, and that entails obviously being a grassroots media studio for Jupiter itself, like a speaker box for the DAO. Obviously, you've got Uplink. Uplink are amazing. They do great work, and they get some of the biggest KOLs and maybe smaller ones as well, and then they build them up. But they're usually people from outside of the DAO. For us, it's something that we do from inside of the DAO. We're here, we're frontline, we're boots on the ground, and we work alongside them as well. And like, you know, for example, you got Monique now. Monique, someone who started with us, actually creating content and stuff, and now she's on Jupe and Juice. But there's obviously there's many others that have been part of this journey that are guests on our show that have been you know, contentized, people that have told their message of what PPP is to them, or someone who's representing a regional. So it's, you know, the grassroots media, everything that we create comes from the DAO itself. Even our animations, I don't know if anyone's seen our cartoon animations. It's someone who was a cadet in the
Big DAO.
Have you seen them, Cash? Have you seen the animations? You might have missed them.
I've seen some of them. Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, even those are grassroots, you know, me writing the scripts, working with a cadet from the community, and then making them come to life. And so there's things that we do that, you know, Uplink doesn't do. And then there's things that we do that's similar, but at the same time, it's like the mission is to create content for Jupiter. And there's never enough content, right? There's so many people that don't really know about what we do within the DAO itself, or what Jupiter is up to. And so, you know, that ambassadorship through Jupe and Juice is super important. That grassroots media is super important. And it's also super important to us that we showcase the DAO members that are on this journey, because at the end of the day, we're doing this together. Like, we're just a medium, right? The podcast is just a medium to get that message out there for you guys to come and jump on, sit next to someone like J.K. or Luca Nets and have your say as well, because people are watching because they're on with us, but at the same time, you're on with us as well. So that's super important. Yeah.
Banger, cooked. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Like, Jupe and Juice is more than a podcast, and the podcast is just a tool that we have at our disposal that we've taken months to develop and build to address key things, right? And address key issues that face the DAO every day. So what are some of these challenges that we're attempting to solve? So as the Jupiverse is growing exponentially every day, there's some growing pains. Potentially you guys may have noticed the third angles or the misinformation angles, or just general unrest occasionally. And I feel like with Jupe and Juice's consistent and reliable and accurate content, we fight misinformation and improve fragmentation within the user bases of Jupiter DAO. So, for example, the Jupiverse has so many distinct user groups, and we unify them all together because it's growing so fast. There's so many products. There's so much shipping. How do we keep these user groups unified, right? Also, a problem that we're trying to challenge is low visibility of key people with founder energy within Jupiter DAO. And we're so happy that we've done that and brought everybody with us on the journey. So these challenges are present in every day, and we're fighting hard to fix them. So fragmentation of user groups, information overload, education gaps, and low visibility of people that are frankly absolute rock stars. Not us, the Jupiverse, key contributors.
Important problems to solve, honestly. I think that, like, no matter how much we try to do, like with these kind of calls or with other live streams or Twitter posts and so on, there's always going to be segments that can't see it all, because there's like literally shipments happening every single day. And so I think as we try to take the best of Jupiter to the rest of the crypto ecosystem, a content studio like Jupe and Juice becomes exceedingly important. Talk a little bit more about some of the solutions that you guys are doing here.
There we go. So yeah, the solutions are the podcast itself. Like the podcast is obviously one of the major things that everyone galvanizes around, similar to the Planetary call. Like, everyone knows it's like a ritual event, right, for the Jupiverse. But there's people outside of the Jupiverse that come to Jupe and Juice as well, right? Because
did I just freeze?
No one's frozen. They're just sliders full screen mode right now.
Oh no, I can see everyone. I think
you guys
froze. Yeah, so I mean, everyone galvanizes around it, and
StreamYard has frozen. It seems like. All right. Well, this is the first. Too much chat energy on the call at the same time.
Hey,
are we still live? People let us know in the chat.
I'm gonna try refreshing my screen real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think Kash is.
No, I'm watching our own live, so we are live.
We're good.
Okay, we're live.
Like, is this the highlight?
I'll continue. I think
Go continue.
maybe Cash is having some problems. So obviously the podcast, the content that we create that are in the video format, and not just those. Obviously we have threads that we put out, and also there's community stories and community campaigns. I don't know if you guys remember the PPP campaigns that we were doing back in the day. And then also we highlight initiatives similar to regionals and events that are happening currently. If you go on the Jupe and Juice page, obviously you can see these things in abundance, and these are super important. You know, it's important for us to showcase the DAO members, the DAO events, and what's happening here, because at the end of the day, it's relevancy, right? We live in a attention economy. If people think that the Jupiverse isn't actually doing anything or isn't actually cooking day in, day out, they just think we're not relevant. And the fact is, we are relevant. We are the biggest DAO in Web3. We are. Yeah, we have, and to be fair, our podcast has become more and more relevant in itself as well. So, you know, I've been watching other podcasts, just trying to compare them, Web3 podcasts, and keeping a tab on their numbers. And they, you know, some of them are good and some of them are decent, but I would say our metrics are great in comparison. So, yeah, so this is something that's super important to us. And then obviously the solution is our ecosystem ambassadorship. I can't actually read these because my screen is crazy. So wait, can you just read through these points, because I've just kind of riffed without.
Yeah,
actually
of course.
reading the points.
Yeah, Stacks killed it. But Grassroots Media Studio with a flagship podcast, which is obviously Jupe and Juice, who've done 60 now, which is actually surreal to think about. Some of the people that they've spoken to. We also run Juice Casts almost every day now, which is where we broadcast vital DAO events like PPP Hour and DevRel work groups. We used to do design, but they've like shipped off and done their own thing and got their own audience, which is amazing. Go back.
Yeah.
And we've showcased some banger community people like Will, Molu, Morton, Loki.
Where's the chat though? Where's the chat?
Got Kira also. Kira and
Is the chat cooked? Are we cooked, chat?
Yeah,
no,
are we
can
live?
see. We
Okay,
are.
The chat,
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
live.
cool. So
Okay.
guess what? Planetary Call is no longer Planetary Call. It's Jupe and Juice now.
Oh yeah,
Welcome
the
to
Jupe and
Juice.
Juice episode.
This is it. Welcome to Jupe and Juice.
Jupe and
We
Juice,
call
Jupe and
this
Juice.
planetary juice. We
Planetary
squeeze the planet. So yeah, some more solutions that we have and we've been building over the time to address these challenges that we just spoke about. Juicecast, like I just mentioned, and content campaigns that we've done, such as regional initiative videos and interviews, PPP. I love seeing all the comments just saying juice. You guys are distracting me. And PPP interviews, community stories, like Zach said. What's some other campaigns we've supported, guys?
Let's move on to Satchel's
Did you
bit.
say the regionals and stuff?
Okay.
So yeah, Satchel, break this down, please. Full work
Okay,
group.
so when we get full work group status, we get 10 times more impact. We can get 10 times more impact. First of all, better content and better distribution. We get to produce and distribute more content, more reach. We get banger
Hey,
after
there he is,
banger
he's back.
guests, bringing best of crypto to the Jupiverse. Ice back.
Yeah, carry on.
More trust, unifying around key discussions, mitigating misinformation and distrust, support the DAO, remaining highly accessible, and amplify the DAO alongside the biggest names in crypto.
Let me just touch on more reach and more trust, right? More reach means, like, you know, right now we're a trial working group. And the fact is, you know, there's only so much me, Wake, Satchel, Monique can do. Like when we pull up and ask a big name, can we, you know, can you come and join us on Jupe and Juice? Half the time people say yes, half the time, well, less than half the time people say yes. More times they might be busy or not able to. But then when you're actually associated with a giant like Jupiter, that unlocks a lot for us, right? That means we can actually step up to them as a Jupiter working group. And if they're still too big for us, there's people like Kash, there's people like Meow, there's people like Seong that can actually put in a word and you know, make magic happen. And that's super big for the DAO itself. That's super big for everyone who's here, who's a part of the Jupiverse in whatever way. If they're, whether you're holding, whether you're contributing, it's just huge for us and for our relevancy and our impact. So, that's something super important. And the trust side, that also goes for itself, because the trust is there then. Right now, we're just a trial working group. We're doing bits and bobs. But when we've got that trust of being an actual Jupiter working group, that means way more doors open.
Yeah. And why this is bullish, you may ask, it's because through all these unlocks and 10x our impact, we're bringing you guys with us. We're bringing Jupiter to main stage. Not that you need it, but the Jupiverse, we're bringing you to main stage crypto media. We're bringing you with us.
Well, Jupiter is at the center of all this, right? So the heart of this whole thing is Jupiter. Without Jupiter, none of this would have been possible, right? None of us would be here. And so we're creating this for Jupiter, by Jupiter, and as it's been said before, obviously we're taking the best of Jupiter to the best of crypto. So yeah, super important. Okay, and this is where we've done that a little bit. Monique, do you want to touch on that?
This is my slide. I'm reading this legally blind, everyone. Don't have my glasses in the context, so please forgive me. I will be looking down and reading from my phone. So achievements so far. We've had 60 pods up to date. And we've grown such an organic audience that we absolutely love. Everyone that tunes in, we see you all the time. So thank you for that. We've boosted visibility for new core DAO contributors like Molu, my favorite Aston Villa fan. We've also got Kira from Design Working Group. There's also other people like Morton from CWG and many others you can see on the slide. We've boosted and contentized campaigns like PPP and regionals, platformed the Jupiverse alongside the biggest names on Solana. Also on the podcast, we've had such big guests like Soul J.P, Lucanets, Bubble Maps, Star Atlas. Most recently, we've had SNS on. They were absolutely amazing. Love those guys. Would you to have you on, Kash, so I can put you on the spot, if that's okay?
Yeah, anytime. Let me know. I'd love to come back. I never got an invite. I thought my episode was bad, and that's why I never got invited back.
No, your episode was sick.
Hey, yo.
And also, we really, one of our achievements, I believe, is our 24/7 working in public. We really pride ourselves in that. We're in the voice chat all the time, and for over a year now, helping the community, being there for the DAO. Yeah. Anything else? Maybe you want to touch on that?
No, I mean, you see these gifts here, they look fancy and stuff, but all of them have a story. Actually, there's some connection to every one of these people and their journey and Jupe and Juice. So I'll just touch on Molu, right? Molu, now top G, one of the top Gs. I say he's like the third top G in Uplink or second top G, but there's so many top Gs in Uplink. But Molu was someone I knew years back, and he came to the Jupiverse because he saw what me and Wake were up to in the voice chats, and he'll attest to this story. And it was him seeing us grinding, trying to create Jupe and Juice in the early days, that made him interested in working groups and the process. And actually, we've got a chat where it's actually called Molu was a wannabe juicer, because there was a point where Molu was going to be part of Jupe and Juice, but it just wasn't right? And now he's on Uplink, and so he's someone that's made his way, he done his own thing, but he's someone who spent time with us day in day out in them voice chats, and now look at him. So he is who he is because he is so great. But we had a small part to play in that, and there's so many people like that on these gifts, and we've got stories for all of them. But who you are, and we couldn't fit everyone on the gifts and whatever else. But that's what that is.
Pretty. I didn't actually know that about Molu. That's amazing.
The lore.
The lore.
There's lore, man. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot of lore.
So much lore.
But yeah, so
We want to connect you guys to the best of crypto, the best of the Jupiverse to the best of crypto. Like, it's so exciting. We want to also foster more unity as well, which we've been doing since day zero. Better metrics, bigger reach, banger after banger guests, bigger platform, and elevate everyone just on a grander scale. So we hope that our full work group status allows us to connect more of you to more.
Yeah, super important. And then we're the team. I mean, you've seen us before, you know us. There's more slides. These are like shortened down, so this will get released when the proposal's released and everything, and then you guys can read through this. But we've got every team member here, and that's the team slide. Does anyone want to really touch on what they do, or we can move on? I think we've taken a lot of time.
We wear so many hats, all of us. We all do bits and bobs.
Yeah, there's a lot that we do. We specialize in what we specialize in, but we do pretty much everything. So do have a look at the slides. And then key lessons learned. I think this is important. So we've been resourceful, and it's been hard work. And just to give you an example of resourcefulness, right? These two lights behind me are not green, right? And they're not actually green. They're green because I've wrapped them up and stuff. So we've done things on a really tight budget. I remember the last proposal, there was a little bit of FUD, let's say. Yeah, FUD, it was what it was. FUD around us getting equipment and stuff. So we've not spent any money. What we've done is done at what we set out to do with what we had, right? So although we look a lot better, that's just through knowledge and understanding and making things happen just through learning, right? But now, we've been resourceful, but we feel we deserve the chance to unlock what would help us, and obviously then that would be with funding and support through Jupiter, through the DAO, and everything else. So resourcefulness was hard work, but it makes magic. And then concise. I can't read this. My eyes. Sorry, guys. Man. Can you read, please?
Of course, yeah. So concise content resonates better. So like shorter, snappier, sharper content just resonates with more people. Simple. Timing is crucial. You've got to hit the topic at the right time. Like the D Gods thread we put it out very quickly and it hit. And also it's not here, but we've learned that podcasting is actually an insanely powerful communications tool that's used in Web 2 and Web 3, but it is super powerful communications tool to get values through, to get culture through, to get topics unified around. And it's hard work, right?
Oh, shit.
Podcasting is hard work. It's a skill that we all started with zero experience in, but we've learned that, bro, it's an art form and it's difficult, but we're getting there. What's happened to the slides?
The slides, I tried to refresh them. Probably was a bit of a risk, but there we go.
All good,
and then that's the last one. But here we go. This is what it should have looked like. Podcasting is a powerful console.
There you go.
Yeah.
And memes, obviously, memes are like mimetic content. Mimetic marketing is huge in Web 3 and emerging in Web 2 also. So it's exciting to be like on the forefront there. I think like Will from Uplink cooks in that regard for his page.
Clouds. Satchel needs funding to buy a shirt, bro. Facts.
Yes, please.
And then Jupe and Juice, follow us. It is what it is. This is the journey. Come on it with us. Be part of it. We're your people, man. Vote Jupe and Juice, the People's Work Group.
There we go. Folks, Jupe Juice, full proposal will come out tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, with a budget associated with it as well. Looking at a vote starting on Monday. We will release a full and proper vote calendar tomorrow alongside with the proposal, so people have plenty of time to dive into the details. The voting period will, as always, be 3 or 4 days, so you'll have plenty of time to get involved. But wanted to showcase this early. The chat is very excited about the People's Work Group. But I will say for myself, I think that having like having a content studio for the DAO, I think is just very important. But B, having it be filled with super talented and committed people that have, this is not like a risky bet of like, oh, are these guys going to put in their best effort or not? Like they're clearly been doing that for a long time. And with more resources, more recognition, and the social mandate of the DAO, you would expect things to only go up and to the right from here. So all four of you, thank you so much for all the work that you've done so far. Thanks for hosting the call while I got kicked off and I had to restart my computer. And we will be talking again very soon.
WMS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it,
guys.
Cash.
Cheers, guys and girls, I should say. Bye. All right, let's now bring Monique back on stage for a one-on-one interview. So Monique, no, that's a joke. I'm just trying to freak Monique out. All right, thank you very much, Monique. Goodbye. All right, anyway, we're gonna go. So that's our first major DAO topic. Monique, I think maybe did have a heart attack there. She's now turned her video off backstage, so I cannot bring her on once again. We have a so. That's the first one. That vote is going to start, like I said, on Monday, most likely, maybe Sunday, maybe Tuesday. We'll get you the details. Before we get to Catdets Corner, there is one other very important idea that I want to bring up and get people's feedback on for the sake of the DAO. So what we're going to do now is talk about this. Basically, over the last few weeks, you would have heard me talk about the DAO representative system. And I think what's become clear is that this is a question that needs some more discussion. A lot of people have a lot of strong thoughts about it. And so this is not a proposal. Let me make that super clear right now. This is instead a time for some discussion from everybody. Slick, I'm glad you thought that was funny. I know Monique definitely did not. And I won't lie to you, Satchel's shirt is not on right now. I can see him backstage. Anyway, going back to the matter at hand. This representative system has been a long time brewing. This is based on many, many, many conversations within the Jupiter community, within the working groups, the COCs, large Jup holders, and many others. But rather than push it forward as a proposal, we wanted to put it up, the CWG, myself, the rest of the team, the rest of the DAO, I want to put it up for some open discussion first. So I'm going to just go through this very quickly. It captures some ideas that I've talked about before, but I want to make sure that folks are aware that this is happening and can leave their feedback so we can figure out what the proposal ought to be. Basically, in short, DAO resolution number 1 crushed it. People very excited. I think it unified the DAO and kind of gave everybody a clear framework to think about the DAO in. But there's still, that was our why, right? But there's still a how that needs to be figured out. And in particular, I want to present 2 options that can help push forward the DAO. The first one would be the representative system that I've talked about in the past. Really, this would be there to solve 2 key problems as I see it. And I and many others see it. First, the DAO is slowed down by vote backlogs. In order to kind of make the progress that we want to make, there's a lot of things that we need to do. Jup and Juice is one example, right? Their trial ended, I think, 2 or 3 months ago, and the team has continued funding them because we believe that what they're doing is important for the community, and we realize that backlogs kind of delayed where their vote was going to land. So these backlogs are kind of omnipresent because there's just so much that we want to do. Right now, at this moment, there are no fewer than 7 upcoming proposals that will need to be voted on, including Jup and Juice and 6 others. If we did that kind of 1 every 2 weeks, that takes us till, basically the middle or the end of Q3 just to get through the existing vote backlog. And that's assuming that no new ideas come to the table, which is not the case, right? So we have these vote backlogs. And the reason we have these backlogs is we don't want to ask too much of stakers, right? Because some stakers are pretty keen to make sure that they're not voting like every week, right? These people, they have lives, they have jobs, and so on. When you have 450,000 stakers, it's not reasonable to expect them all to be actively engaged every single day, every single week. It's just not possible. And so between these 2 factors that, hey, we don't want to overtax the attention and bandwidth of our stakers, but we have a lot that we want to get done, an idea emerged for a representative system. The representative system would basically create 2 types of proposals: small proposals and big proposals. And the exact bar of what makes something small or big is exactly what we need your help and your ideas on over in the Jup Research forums. I've included some indicative numbers for now, just to kind of have something for us to talk about. So the way this could work is that every staker is eligible, would be asked to delegate their stake to somebody, right? The top 301 wallets by delegated stake weight would become representatives for DAO votes on proposals that are less than 350,000 USDC plus Jup in funding. Anything above that threshold, anything that touches the community treasury, anything, or the community reserve, anything that affects kind of like every DAO voter in a clear and obvious way, things like Jupiverse, for example, would still go to a full DAO vote. So this is not about ending full DAO votes. Rather, it's about making the DAO more agile, make it able to work more quickly by having quote unquote small proposals go to a smaller set of people. So we don't need everybody to be involved in everything. The cool thing here, there's multiple cool things, but one cool thing is that each representative and 301 representatives would only receive 1 vote per wallet. So this would not be the kind of place where, for example, whales could dominate. Anybody who had enough delegated stake weight to get into that top 301 would then be able to vote 1 per person. This would ensure kind of equality among the representatives. Another cool thing about this is that we would have this kind of emergent class of people who are out there kind of campaigning to attract delegated stake weight, which I think is very fun and allows us to better recognize some of the existing community leaders, some who are just on this call, and many of you are in the chat over here as well, and so on and so forth. One important thing, though, is that the goal here is not to kind of take the voice away from anybody. So in America, I'm American, you elect representatives. They go to Congress and they vote on things. And the way they vote on individual things, my only real way of accountability is once every 2 years if they're Congress people, once every 6 years if they're senators. I don't really have any way to opine on a particular topic. But in the representative system for the Jup DAO, what we could do is enable you on a vote-by-vote basis, even during a vote, to change your delegation if you see that your representative is not voting in line with what you believe the right thing is. So at any given time, you could just switch over your stake to a different representative that is going to vote the way that you want to vote. So this doesn't create this kind of lock-in or lack of accountability that you might see in other representative systems, which I think is pretty cool. If we were to do this, you get much faster decision-making because the representatives, we can ask them to vote weekly without too much fear because they're largely going to be people who are really interested and actively involved in kind of gathering stake and so on, or they're very large token holders. Stakers who aren't as interested, they can rely on the opinions of these trusted community leaders for these quote unquote small proposals. And any stakers who are interested can still make sure their voice is heard by changing their delegation at a given time. The downside here is that some people still may want to vote directly, right? They want to vote on every issue, big or small. They don't want to have any representative ever speak for them. They want to make sure that they can always vote. And that leads us to option number 2, which would be opt-in delegation. So in the first scenario, there's 301 representatives or whatever the number we decide as a community and as a DAO together would be. But there's some kind of strict number of representatives. In the opt-in system in option 2, every single vote is still a full DAO vote, but you have the option to delegate in case that you want to. This is a little bit more flexible. Obviously, it's great for people who have multiple wallets and just want to consolidate that voting power into one wallet, for example. And everyone gets to be directly involved from their own wallet every single time. This is kind of been a big part of the Jupiter DAO's unique slant on things to be the largest and most active DAO with widespread voter participation. And, in theory, at least, then every single DAO remains with that full or direct social mandate. You can argue that you still get that with the representative system since people are delegating and saying, hey, you can vote on my behalf and they can still change their votes. But clearly, if it's opt-in delegation, it's even more obvious that it's a social mandate. The downside here is that this does require much more coordination, which means that we have to go somewhat slower, right? It's hard to make sure that everyone's on board for every vote if we have 450,000 staking wallets. So this would mean fewer votes. In both systems, in either case, we would need to create a website where people have the option to delegate to people, and we would show some information about those people, and then you would be able to delegate your stake with one click. Now, I can already hear the chat. See, I know what people are thinking. What about ASR? Well, here's the good news. Delegating stake is still valuable because when you delegate your stake, you are sending a signal to the rest of the DAO that the person you're delegating to is trustworthy. And you are helping them kind of increase their standing within the DAO as well and giving them more voting power. That's a valuable activity. So in both cases, ASR would still be unaffected. As long as you delegate to somebody who votes in option 1, you would still receive ASR. As long as you yourself vote in option 2, you would receive ASR. The cool thing in option 1 is that including ASR for delegators, not for representatives would get it just for their own stake, it is a nice little incentive to ensure that stakers are staying kind of like somewhat actively involved, right? You don't have to check on a day-to-day basis. You don't need to read the details of every proposal, go to every town hall, etc. But you still need to know that your representatives are kind of doing a good job. So this, I would say, is a very important proposal. It'll be fundamental to the future of the DAO. We're not going to vote on this anytime soon, probably not, at least not for a week, because we have the Jup and Juice vote starting next week. But what I need from everyone who's watching this and everyone beyond is your thoughts. 3 key questions. First, should we have optional delegation or should we have mandatory representatives limited to small budget impact votes? Should we go with option 1 or option 2, or maybe none of them? And you say, hey, we shouldn't have delegation at all for XYZ reasons. If we go with representatives, how many is the right number? Many DAOs, certainly in Ethereum, have somewhere between 15 and 20. I thought that 300 is a nice number because it's large enough for community leaders to emerge without being so large the coordination costs get bad. But maybe it should be 50, maybe it should be 100, maybe it should be 1,000. I don't know, maybe it should be 10,000. People can suggest their ideas down below. And then finally, if we do representatives, what should that budget threshold be to determine a small and a large vote? Ultimately, the goal here is simple, that, for at least in option 1, 450,000 people do not need to necessarily be involved in a $50,000 budget vote every single time. And there's lots of complaints about it from voters who are dissatisfied. Obviously, it's a little bit of a tricky thing because people who read this post are by definition actively involved in governance. But so for a lot of the people who are not as actively involved in governance, this is a kind of a key and important point that might make people more likely on the margin to stake Jupe because they can participate without having to be deeply in the trenches. Or maybe we should go optional only. And we'll talk about it for there. What I need from everybody, though, is your feedback and your ideas. Just to reiterate, this is not a proposal just yet. This is a discussion point. So need your feedback in order to be able to take this forward. Let me quickly check the chat because I was looking into the camera. Billy Jesus likes both. Matto likes, I'd have a fallback default vote in case representatives actually miss a vote. That's interesting. OG likes the representatives. Just fire emojis. I don't know which those are for, but I appreciate fire emojis always. Fairy Cat likes the optional. Combining wallets for yourself, friends, and family is very nice. AK just says, rather hesitant to give away my vote. In neither case would you be giving away your vote, because you can always change your delegation to somebody who's voting the way that you wanted to vote in option 1. And in option 2, you can always revoke your delegation and then vote yourself. So in no world would anyone be giving away their vote. This has great utility and is less complicated. Fairy Cat saying for option 2, potentially miss a big vote. Maybe remove ASR. Optional sounds great, even as a first step. Does delegation require one-time gas? Polymonger asks. I believe it would, because it'd be an on-chain action. So yes, it probably would. Let's see. Sounds good. Are you a delegate or a rep, Cash? I would be neither. I would count myself out of that. Let's see, active stake in here, enjoying the community, and so on. Okay, cool. Let's see if there's any other quick questions. We won't know, Polymonger says, we won't know if the delegate rep has voted until the voting ends. So I think that we would show that on that new governance website that I described, you'd be able to see who has voted where, and then potentially allocate more to them. OG says, key point, there will still be full DAO votes even with the delegation system. That's exactly right. In no world are we getting rid of full DAO votes. It's just a question of, should the full DAO vote on quote unquote smaller things, or should they vote on everything? That's the decision that can be made. Is this like a validator system on Solana? I guess kind of in the abstract, in the sense that validators can vote on SIMDs and stuff like that. Yeah, a little bit, I suppose. Lord Poseidon says option 02 is okay for me though. Nigel says option 2. Some folks like option 1. Some people like option 2s. Corb.e says, any vote within the next 2 weeks? Yes, we have the Jupe and Juice vote happening next week, probably on Monday. What is the time to revoke your delegated Jupe? It would be instant in any of these cases, or whatever it is, 400 milliseconds and so on. But if option 1 got in, I would want to be a rep, says Lord Poseidon. See, that's why I like option 1 personally more. I think it's more exciting to have this kind of class of politicians and this way to kind of identify really high quality community members as well. In any case, please do go give your feedback. I know we're running super late, so I'll stop talking about this right now, but very much looking forward to reading what everyone has to say over here on this page. Say what you like, but there's no doubt about this. We're trying things with the Jupiter DAO, and we're not going to be complacent in what we've been doing so far. With that said, let me bring up on stage our final guest for the day. She is a long time, well, actually, let's get her own story. Rather than me introducing her, please just drop a little JM for Southen. Southen, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, I'm exhausted, but we're still going. We're still going. That's the way it is. Southen, for people who don't already know you, do you mind introducing yourself a little bit to the community here?
All right. I'm Southen. I'm a developer and code lead for Jupiter Nigeria. So yeah, before I came to Jupiter, I was a dev. I actually came in here to find opportunities, but Then I got stuck in with the community. They just have this force, lovable community. W for you. So yeah, that's how I joined in.
That's pretty good to hear. So within the community, where do you end up spending most of your time? Who do you end up hanging out with? Tell us a little bit about your experience of the Jupiter community.
I just spend my time in the voice chats, most times in the cadet chat, but lately I've been, occupied with some real life stuff, so I've not really had time to chat. But yeah, you can ask the homies Jup and Juice. Yeah, we chat a lot. We hang out. I still hang out with Duke, Ayami. Now that we're working together for Jupiter Nigeria, and yeah, so yeah.
Love to hear. That's the beauty of the community, that it's always there whenever you need it. You have some stuff in your personal life, you go take care of business, you come back, the community is not going anywhere. Obviously, the Jupiter community in Nigeria, I think, is one of the strongest countries that we have, in no small part thanks to people like you, Duke, Sammy, AJ, Juju Girl, many others. What do you think it is about Jupiter that is so resonant with Nigerians? Like, why has the community grown so strong down in Nigeria?
I think one of the key points is the Jup mobile, right? Ever since Jup mobile came into play, it's been an easy way to get people on board. It's easier for onboarding because now you can just easily say, "Oh, it's gasless," and they'll be like, "Oh no," and they go to try it out and you actually see that you're not lying. And with the new features rolling out, it's just a powerful app. For
Excellent. So it's just kind of like the product really resonates with folks, especially the mobile one, huh?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Have you been to any of the Duke or Sammy events?
No, but I look forward to. Based on we still at different states, so yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'd be good to see. I know that some of the stuff I see coming out of there is crazy. Let me ask you, by the way, we don't prep for these cadet corners. These are all, hardball questions. Can I ask, do you have a favorite work group within the Jupiter DAO? Work group or trial? Full group or trial? Yeah.
Okay. That's a tough one. I think they're all doing a good job. I can't really take a peek, rather. They're all working out their asses, so don't be to them.
Okay, so which one is your least favorite? If you want to tell me your favorite, which one would you get rid of? That's a joke. You don't have to answer that. So as you use Jupiter, do you use Jupiter products yourself, I assume? Are you a big Jupiter mobile user? Do you like to trade perps? Do you use Jupiter Pro? Anything else?
Yeah, I do trade perps, but yeah, I'm not that much of a trader, so I hardly make profits, but still try to make trades. But I'm mostly on the swap side. I usually swap almost everything.
It's actually, it's so cool to me. I think in so many of these cadet corners that we've had, the people who are deeply engaged in the Jupiter community are not necessarily like big traders. So what is it about the Jupiter community that you think draws you in?
The love from the community, right? When I first came in, I was still basically a newbie, but there was this willingness to help out, help, and all that. I think that was one of the things that kept me. Juby's home. The slogan goes hard, truly.
It does. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know if it was Meow or somebody else, but shout out to whoever came up with that. It was not me for sure. Well, last question for you here, Southen. I ask it every time. A lot of people watching this. We have 7,656 viewers across YouTube and Twitter right now, according to StreamYard. What advice do you have to them if they want to get more involved in the Jupiter community?
I would say very simple. Don't hesitate to ask questions and just get involved. If you have a suggestion, just drop it out. Especially at office hours on Mondays, they are willing to hear you out, and the community is open-handed. They are willing to listen to you, advise you, take your advice, and all that. So it's pretty bullish. I feel that's what anyone should do.
Pretty bullish is right. I would definitely agree with that. Is there anything else that you want to say to the lovely people at home before we jump here?
Shout out to you guys. Keep killing it. Juby's home. Let's fucking go.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. So drop a little LFG in the chat for Southen for coming on. Appreciate you and everything you're doing in the community. Thanks for coming on.
Sure. Love you.
All right, let's start to wrap things up then as we get into the final slide. Where is it here? And there it is. So it has been a, whoa, hold on. My slides are not in presenter mode. There we go. It has been an hour and 44 minutes. So shout out to everyone who had that. I might keep talking for 2 minutes just to mess up anyone who said an hour and 45. It has been a long one, but a very juicy one. I think you would agree. We covered all the news this week in the Jupiverse. We got to do a little deep dive with the homie Erbil and hear more about the future plans for Huma. Bullish. We got to hear about Jupiter Lend and the flexibility and all the different possibilities that are possible coming up. Bullish. We got to hear from Jupe and Juice about some of the great work that they have been doing and what they plan to do next. Vote starting next week. Bullish. We got to hear about the representative and delegation system, which we need your comments on the Jupe Research forums. Potentially bullish. And then we got to hear from the homie Southen, and that's exceptionally bullish, I will say. So thank you everybody for coming out. As always, you know where to find us. Same time, same place next week. Stay tuned for more details on the Jupe and Juice vote coming out tomorrow along with their proposal. Until then, I appreciate you all very much. Appreciate you, AK Ninja, Yaratera Teka, Catdets WAJ, Slick, Salami Zaid, my guy Duke, and everybody else. Thank you for coming out. We'll see you next time. You don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here.